Mr McMillan.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. I want to thank the Tories for bringing this debate to the Chamber, as it highlights exactly why the Union does not work for Scotland and why only independence can deliver a brighter future for the nation and everyone who actually lives here. And nothing at all will convince me of the case for the Union. Economically, the UK is a basket case, and from the financial crash and the lack of action against those that caused the problem in the first place, to Brexit, another fact for the debate, to Brexit being a disaster, and modelling by the National Institute for Economic and Social Research suggests that compared to the EU membership, the UK economy was already 2.5% smaller in 2023, and it expects it to rise to 5.7% by 2035. In Scotland, this equated to a cut in public revenues of around £2.3 billion in 2023. And another fact, then add in the short-lived Liz Truss quasi-quartine mini-budget that tanked the economy, taking over £40 billion out of the economy as a result. Now, I'm sure that we all remember some of the cheerleaders in the Tory seats urging the Scottish Government to follow her lead.
Mr McMillan, please resume your seat for a second. I will not have this cross-chamber conversation going on whilst a member has got the floor. Please show some courtesy and respect, members. Mr McMillan.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. I'll repeat that point just in case I couldn't hear. We certainly can't forget about the cheerleaders sitting in the Conservative seats who are actually urging the Scottish Government to follow the Liz Truss budget. But I'm glad that this SNP Scottish Government quite clearly rejected those Tory demands. Now, sadly, the financial carnage that the Tories left, another fact for the debate, the financial carnage that the Tories left last year is a mess of huge proportions, and that the next UK Government was always going to have a lot on their plate. Now, I even agreed, not something to do very often, I even agreed with Anis Sarwar when he said last June, and I quote, "I will not disagree when it comes to the carnage the Conservatives have imposed on this country and the state of their public finances." Now, it's pretty much a similar position to the one that Labour left the Tories in 2010, and I'm sure we all remember the note that Liam Byrne left for them, quote, "I'm afraid there is no money." So now moving on to Labour and their amendment, they did inherit a mess, but we all know that they have actually the majority in the Commons to fix it. However, the 18 months of misery and chaos under the Keir Starmer's government is doing nothing at all to instil any confidence in their handling of the economy or anything else for that matter. Now, Labour recognised there were 14 years of austerity, and that clearly was going to have an impact on public spending and delivery. Now, Westminster austerity, whether it's Tory or Labour, doesn't stop at the border. Now, it was made in Westminster for England, Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales. Now, Presiding Officer, when in opposition, Labour's Wes Streeting said something that we can all agree on when he stated, and I quote, "All roads lead back to Westminster." He uttered these comments trying to defend Labour's running of the NHS in Wales. Now, this was because of austerity. Now, while the uncomfortable truth for Labour is that the same austerity hammered the people living in Scotland as well. Now, Labour promised last year to cut fuel bills by £300, but they've increased by nearly £200. Labour hammered employers with the national insurance contributions hike in their last budget. Labour announced a cutting of the winter fuel payment, only to eventually roll back on it after outrage from the public. Now, Labour went on an austerity journey with their welfare cuts, hurting those who need the help the most. Now, quite frankly, Presiding Officer, no matter which party resides in Downing Street, Scotland will always be hamstrung due to the limitations of devolution, and that's why independence is essential for our future. Now, the financial forecasts spoken about today are all under the current constitutional arrangements. The Labour and Conservatives have proven that they're not up to the job, and that's why Scotland needs independence. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms McMillan.